Hi, everyone. My name is Genice Lee. I am a personal property, residential content, and decorative arts appraiser. I started as an appraiser as a hobby. I used to love to go out. It was the truly the thrill of the hunt. I would go to rummage sales, yard sales, and I liked old objects with history. And I would bring things home, and my husband started to say, "You're bringing too much stuff home. Our house is starting to look cluttered." And I said to him, "Well, if I can figure out a way to make this into a business, can I continue doing what I'm doing?" And he said, "Yes." So I rose to the challenge. I took classes at George Washington University on connoisseurship, which means I learned how to look at the objects, study the objects, learn about the vocabulary. And I also joined the American Society of Appraisers. After some testing and studying, I am now an accredited senior appraiser, and it's been about 14 years in this business. As an appraiser, I think with other professions, you want to get the background through education. So sometimes education is going to school, sometimes education is hands on experience. I have colleagues who have worked with auction houses or at antique stores. I didn't do either of those two routes. I went through coursework at a university, and then I later apprenticed with more seasoned appraisers to learn about the business and how to approach appraising. It usually starts with a phone call. I'll get a phone call and a person will say to me they want an appraisal. And the first question that I ask them is, "Why do you need the appraisal?" Because believe it or not, how you intend to use the appraisal drives the approach to the appraising process. So I will talk with them at length about the objects they may want me to look at. Do they have a collection? Is it an individual thing? And again, back to the reason for the appraisal. And then we will schedule for me to come out and do an on-site inspection to take a look at the object, take photographs, measure. But actually, prior to my going on site, I will send them what's called a scope of work document, which outlines the process for the appraisal. And it also is the contract that we sign that talks about the cost for the appraisal. And then from that point, we schedule and move forward from there. I do, as an appraiser, work with other business to business interactions. I work with real estate agents, attorneys, insurance companies, moving companies, all of these various other professional industries do have a need for my services. And so we kind of cross work together because at some point in times, a project they may be working on requires what I do to assist their clients in moving on to the next step in what they're trying to accomplish. I would say that in any business, dealing with your client base can be challenging because people have different expectations. And so, one of the things that I find that I need to do when I'm working with clients is to educate them about the appraisal process and help them to understand that there are certain things that I do and certain things that I don't do. And so, there have been instances where clients may want me to, they may hope that the appraisal comes in at a higher number or a lower number. And what I need people to understand is, as appraisers, we report the market. It's not about my opinion, but it is reporting what's going on in the market. And so, instances where that is actually a challenge, I would say, is, for example, with charitable contributions. If I am writing an appraisal because someone has donated an object to a museum or they want an appraisal written so that they can have a tax write off, people need to understand that there are laws in place that, as the appraiser, if I come in at a number, a percentage over or a percentage under, and the IRS audits my appraisal, not only will I be fined, but my client will be fined. And so people need to understand that the ramifications for being exact and concise are very important so that I don't get in trouble and that you don't get in trouble as my client. You can test to be a specialist. Behind me, you see a lot of my books. As a generalist, I look at a lot of different things. And so my appraisal library covers the many things that I may look at. I'm like your general practitioner. I know a little bit about a lot of different things, but there are appraisers who specialize in maybe only rugs, or appraisers who specialize in African art, or appraisers who specialize in clocks. And there are times when I'm doing work for a client where they may have an object that I'm not crystal clear on what the market is reporting. And I'll contact a colleague who has that specialty to ask them to give me some insight on that particular object I'm working on. Or if it is truly out of my league, I will ask them to come and partner with me on that project to make sure that my client is getting the correct market information and value for that particular object. I would say that I'd like to encourage people of color and young people too to take a look at this industry. This is an industry where you don't often see people of color represented. It's a very interesting field. If you have a love of history or old objects, it's definitely something that you may want to take a look at and consider as a career choice. I'd like to encourage you guys to check me out on the various social media platforms that are listed below, and to also take a look at some of the videos that I have done some previous shoots on information that I think is important for people to consider as they transition to the various seasons in their life.